Alrighty, so welcome back everyone. Obviously, we have a lot of things that we have to talk about today, as I'm sure you are aware. In case you guys missed it, a few days ago, right, we had our community fest for Dokkan. Apparently it was a great time. I missed the whole thing though, unfortunately. However, I do know that from the community fest, we got a lot of key information related to part 2 of this whole TANABATA 2.0 celebration, the whole Transcendent Dokkan campaign, including new events and the reveal of our part 2 LR, which in case you guys missed it, our Part 2 LR is officially going to be a stand-alone Broly. New LR, Carnival LR, Wrathful Broly right here. Also, important to note, this is a stand-alone Broly. No tag mechanic with Frieza or Paragus, no combination with Chilai or Lemo, even though they are in the background. None of that. Straight up, stand-alone Broly. Honestly, I'm still surprised seeing this. Even after Part 1 with Frieza and Gogeta, I wasn't 100% sure the Part 2 would be a Broly LR, but here we go. And honestly, I'm very happy to see this. Obviously, it's Broly. Who's going to be mad at seeing Broly? Me personally, I'm very happy for it. But also, I gotta think long term. And this means the Namek Saga is still on the table for 11th anniversary. And you guys know, I have to push for Namek Saga every chance I get until Namek gets a really good set of characters, a good set of just overall beast characters for the game, because it's been a while since Namek has had really good characters in the top level of the game. I gotta be honest, I need Namek to be good once again. Like, it's really overdue at this point. But anyways, so we have the character, we have the animations, the kit details. Also, we have a producer's letter for the month of September, which basically is giving us the same information from the Community Fest in terms of what we can look forward to seeing for the second half of this celebration. So today, I want to go ahead and break down all of this stuff because obviously it is very important for everyone getting set for the second half of this celebration in terms of what we can look forward to seeing. And hopefully part 2 is going to ramp things up a notch, keep things going in a really good pace. But yeah, it's going to be very fun to see. I'm very excited today. Hopefully you guys will enjoy the vid. If you do, show your support down below, comment down below your thoughts. Let me know, what do you guys think about the new LR Broly? Because I've seen some mixed reviews. I've seen some people very happy with this character. I've seen some people very disappointed, feeling that this character is mid. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below specifically. But with that being said, let's go ahead and continue on with the vid. So first things first, let's go ahead and go through the producer letter. We'll talk about the new content, the things we can look forward to. Then we'll go ahead and segue into the new Broly, talk about how his kit works and all this sort of stuff, and everything from there, including how to build Broly with the hidden potential system. Anyways, with the producer's letter. So first things first, I already actually went through the whole kind of letter and everything. The first thing to talk about is the new content. And right here we see we're getting stages 3 and 4 for the Ultimate Red Zone right here. Obviously, stage 1 was against Raditz. Stage 2 was against Saiyan, Saga, Vegeta, Great Ape, and everything. Stage 3 is going to be against Majin Vegeta, and Stage 4, as you can see right here, will be against Kaba. Now, obviously, this is still meaning we're missing a few options right here. We're still missing Broly, we're still missing Caulifla and Kale. My expectation is that we're probably going to see this in terms of Stage 5 and Stage 6, or hopefully Stages 5, 6, and 7. And we'll have to see. My assumption is they're going to combine Kale and Caulifla together into one stage. We'll have to wait and see. But probably those final few bosses will be for Part EX, if you will, of this whole Tanabata celebration, which hopefully Part EX is going to be really awesome as well. But yeah, I mean, we are getting 2 stages. Looking back on the first stages, Raditz was not that difficult, kind of gimmicky. He could be challenging if you didn't know what to expect, but once you knew the gimmicks around him, you could easily control him with even the most basic of characters at times, it felt like. And then, Saiyan, Saga, Vegeta was just kind of straightforward. He's your basic boss. So I'm not really feeling too much from that so far. Hopefully stages 3 and 4 will provide more gimmicks, more interesting kind of mechanics and stuff, but we'll have to kind of wait and see. Anyways, besides that, we also have a new limited time event, right? A limited attempt event right here. Once per day, you can do this event right here. And with it, you get a wallpaper, you get Link skill orbs, and also you will get some aged meat. Pause, by the way, in case if it's necessary. But of course, with that, you'll get more stamina for if you're doing like Link leveling or like world tournaments and stuff. So that'll be really good. And also, they do say it'll be easier to link up Link skills in stage 2. So that's going to be really awesome as well. I forget if they say like what specifically. Let me like go through and everything. But yeah, they don't say if there's any like specific kind of character restrictions here, so it's pretty straightforward. Honestly, I'm happy for more events because I mean more chances for link leveling and everything. I do need to push for that. I really do need to push for link leveling, so yeah, I'll happily take that. Besides that though, we also have this new challenge event right here. Now this is not like a red zone or blue zone stage or anything. This is completely new because of the whole celebration. And as you can see right here, you have to complete the missions to get a unique title. A new stage will be added every single day, however, up to 14 stages. So basically, 2 weeks, right? 14 days. They say every single stage will be more challenging than the one before it. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure what the event is going to offer, but hopefully it's going to be a fun time. I suspect this event will be heavily tailored to benefit the new Part 2 Broly, but we'll have to kind of wait and see. Probably, you know, Part 1 with the Frieza Gogeta will still cook here too. We'll have to see who's going to be handling things here. Maybe Omega Shenron will be a GOAT, but you know, as far as I'm concerned, I can't wait for the new content. I can't wait for Part 2. More Dragon Stones. I need Dragon Stones. Let me know in the comments down below, guys. Are you guys also broke in terms of Dragon Stones? Maybe in life too, but especially in terms of Dragon Stones. Are you guys broke? Because I have basically no Dragon Stones. I have nothing saved up for Part 2. Everything went into Part 1. I only got one copy of Frieza and Gogeta, but I'm not ready for Part 2 yet. I need content. I need Dragon Stones to have a chance. But yeah, let me know. I mean, I need this content today. I need the Dragon Stones right now. Anyways, we got the challenge event and everything. We have to look forward to that, of course. You know, it's going to be a fun time. I'm excited to see what they got going. Besides that, they start to show the new character. Now, I'll wait to talk about the new character in just a sec. The final piece of new content we have to talk about is some new Easy Aids. We love to talk about this stuff, and we got two going on right here. So we have the Easy Aid confirmed for the side banner STR Broly, which if I remember correctly, this Broly was from the 7th anniversary. And then we have the first, like the Super Easy A for one of the first ever LRs with the STR Broly right here. I believe he was the first LR on Global, if I'm not mistaken. For any of you guys who remember that, by the way, let me know as well in the comments below. I'm asking for a lot of stuff right now. But yeah, I mean, I still remember this Broly, a World Tournament beast, a fiend. Nowadays, you know, the GOAT for World Tournament technically is like the In Piccolo Jr. But it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see if the Super Easy A makes this Broly the best character for World Tournament. Hopefully, because it'll be fun to kind of go back to that time. But it'll be interesting to see what's going on here. I'm actually very excited for all the sort of stuff we got cooking here, because all these different movie boss characters, you know, we're getting some cool stuff happening for sure when it comes to this whole celebration, which is pretty awesome. And also, you know, I mean, more Broly, what's not to love, right? So yeah, it's all great. Anyways, now we have all that. Now we can move on to the new Broly, the Part 2 LR Carnival Broly. So we'll go ahead and talk about the kit details first, then we'll go ahead and look at the animations as I give you guys my brief kind of overview. But first, let's just kind of go over the kit in terms of how this character works, and we'll kind of let this play through as we do this. So, Part 2 Broly, right? Part 2 LR Broly. Right here, we can see right here, he's got 9 categories: Exploding Rage, Gifted Warriors, Movie Bosses, Super Bosses, Pure Saiyans, Uncontrollable Power, Mission Execution, Rapid Growth, and Giant Ape Power. Also, Extreme Tech character. So I believe, I've seen some people mention this. This may be the first ever celebration in Dokkan's history to feature only extreme class headliner characters, right? Sometimes you see a super class character like a Goku or maybe a Vegeta, Gohan, something like that, maybe Gogeta. This is the first celebration to feature only extreme type characters, even though technically Gogeta is part of Part 1. Still, you know, Extreme Frieza, Extreme Broly, very interesting there for sure, and obviously both are extreme tech type characters too. Anyways, there is that. Besides that, 9 categories, not the most diverse character in terms of like categorical diversity. You guys know I'm a fan of characters who can fit onto a bunch of categories, because that means they can fit onto a bunch of different teams, contribute to all sorts of different missions. Only 9 categories, not the best. However, when we talk about the categories themselves, we're talking about some big boy, you know, categories right here, some big hitters. I mean, Pure Saiyans, obviously one of the best categories that Broly is probably on, if not the best. Movie bosses, especially right now, I feel like movie bosses is getting a resurgence, so this is good. Super bosses with Rose, come on now. Rose, super bosses, amazing. Uncontrollable Power, you know, you got some great characters there. Mission Execution, under Mercenary Tao, for those of you who have a Mercenary Tao, still really powerful, I would say, right now, especially. I mean, Rapid Growth, you know, Giant Ape Power, under the lead of Age Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 4 Goku from the 10th anniversary. I keep saying, he is probably the best aging character of this whole year. It's at least the 10th anniversary. And, I mean, he still is continuing with characters like Broly being added to his team. You know, the Giant Ape Power category is looking really good nowadays compared to what it was at the beginning of the year. And obviously, I mean, you got Exploding Rage and stuff, but yeah, a few good categories for sure. Like a few really beautiful categories that Broly fits into. So, you know, can't be mad at that at all, even though there aren't that many categories to offer. With the leader skill, 220% to stats, key +4 for the Exploding Rage categories. So not the best category, of course, but still some really cool characters. Super attack effect. These guys are going so fast with this. Super attack effects, 12 key, raise attack and defense and cause colossal damage to the enemy. 18 key, raises attack and defense, cause mega colossal damage to the enemy as well. So basically, both sides of the super attack effect, right? They are stacking attack and defense simultaneously just like, you know, basically the AGL Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 4 Goku once he goes into Super Saiyan 4, same thing, raising attack and defense. However, important to know, no AoEs, no support, no special things right there like sealing and stuff, just stacking. That's all it is, attack and defense stacking, and that's as straightforward as it gets. So this is a character off rip with this alone. This is a character really good for something like Festival of Battles, which obviously Festival of Battles came out with a new mission. So, you know, BROLY could be really good for that. With the passive skills, so let's talk about this. So activates the intro animation upon the character's entry. No gimmicks, just straight up intro, which is really nice. So right here with the intro, Ki +4 and damage reduction rate increases by 40% for 1 turn, and Ki +3 and damage reduction rate increased by 30% for 3 turns. This is one time only. Let's go ahead and explain this. Basically, the combination of this two, the first time that BROLY shows up, the first turn, he will have Ki +7 because of the combination here, and damage reduction rate of 70% in his kit for the first turn. After that, the second time he shows up, which will likely be turn 3 if you keep him on rotation, he will lose this first part right here and retain Ki +3 and 30% damage reduction right here. Now, I want to emphasize this because this can be something that people may make the mistake of. If you have BROLY on turn 1, right? Say turn 1, BROLY shows up, gets the intro, you get the 70% damage reduction, cool. If you, for some reason, float this BROLY off, he shows up turn 4 on the other rotation, right? He will, by that point, miss out on both parts of his intro because by then, he'll be in the match for 4 turns. Not for 3 turns, but for 4, even though you floated him off and only saw him 2 times. So it's very important to understand that basically you want to keep him on rotation at the very least to maximize the value of his intro buffs. That's at the bare minimum, but just kind of want to mention that, of course. Besides that, you know, basic effects, 260% to attack and defense, and guards all attacks guaranteed. So before we go any further, let me just say this right now. This alone, this like 2 sets of text and everything, this is very similar to Frieza and Gogeta, right? Frieza specifically, where Frieza, he has 70% damage reduction and built-in guard for like the first few turns, and then afterwards he loses the guaranteed guard, but he has a great chance to have guard, but he has guaranteed, you know, 70% damage reduction. So very similar in terms of the combination right here, 70% damage reduction and guard. However, if you ask me, and I think a lot of people will agree, Frieza is better when it comes to the strict comparison between the two because he still has 70% damage reduction and still has a great chance to guard. This here, you have the guard guaranteed, which is cool, but the damage reduction will go away permanently from this right here. So that is a significant downgrade compared to Frieza, but you know, there's still a lot of kit to talk about, but still, you know, I mean, important to kind of compare that. Anyways, for every attack performed, right? Doesn't matter if it's a normal, a super, whatever. Ki +1 up to 5 for the rest of the fight. This is a permanent buff, so 5 attacks here. Defense plus 50% up to 400%, so 8 attacks right there. And boosting crit chance by 20% up to 100%, so 5 attacks there. So in total, you want to push for 8 attacks to maximize the power of this part of his kit. But it's important to know, BROLY, a tech type character who at 55% with the hidden potential system will have built-in crit, he will have built-in guaranteed crit with his kit right here for the entirety of a fight after just 5 attacks. So this is a character who can, you know, be really self-sufficient in that respect. If you pull like dupes of this character, you don't need to put a single amount of effort into crit for him for his build. And I'll talk about his build in greater detail in just a moment, but built-in crit covers that whole aspect of the build. You can go for like additional for dodge, you can go for other things. Now the crit is completely covered right here. Besides that, for every attack that he's receiving, permanently Ki +1 up to 5, so 5 attacks there. Attack plus 40% up to 300%, so that's going to be 8, right? 7.5 technically, but 8 attacks in total, right? So take you have to take 8 attacks to get that buff, and then launches an additional that has a high chance, which is a 50% chance to become a super up to 4 times. So 4 attacks for this right here. This is permanent. So the way I understand it, unless I'm mistaken, after, you know, taking every attack, assume he takes 4 attacks in turn 1. For the rest of the fight, he will automatically have all these additionals unlocked, just covered entirely for the rest of the fight. Doesn't matter if he's in slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, this should be for the rest of the fight. So that is very helpful right there. Thankfully, they did cap it to 4, because if this was unlimited, we have to understand BROLY could very well be the most stupid unit if this was unlimited. But they capped it to 4 to keep things balanced, so, you know, they knew what they were doing. But still, 4 times with supers and everything potentially, that is insane on top of the original super. There could be a lot of stacking going on, so that is very special for a character like BROLY for long-term content, like insane. For every attack for every super that the enemy launches at the character, specifically BROLY, right? Important to know, permanently raising attack and defense by 30%. And also, when receiving a melee super, an unarmed super, great chance, 70% chance to nullify, boost your attack by 260% temporarily, and counter with tremendous power. So BROLY, very, I feel, straightforward in terms of its design, but still, I mean, this is a character where he has really good potential. And the thing about this character is he is so good at ramping damage. I mean, right here, this is something that I've seen a lot of people talk about, how this can just be so insane. Basically, every super this character takes, doesn't matter who it's from, doesn't matter how many he's taking, doesn't matter where it is, he's boosting his stats. So ideally, this is a character between the guard, between that flat out damage reduction to start things off, between the stats and everything, the stacking and how his kit works and everything. This is a character who you basically want to put slot 1. Slot 1 or at worst slot 2. You don't want to float off a character like this, particularly because not only do you have all this stuff in his kit, but also if we go back to his super attack effect, right? His super attack effect is stacking. So why would you want to float off a stacker unless the situation presents itself where the stacker is the least reliable character on the rotation, in which case that can make sense, but more often than not, you want to keep your stackers on rotation to give them the most opportunities to stack and keep things pushing. So, pretty straightforward there. Besides that, we also have an active skill. So with the active right here, massively raise attack temporarily, cause ultimate damage to the enemy, defense plus 60%, and foresees the enemy's supers for 1 turn. So a 1-turn scouter right there. This can be done starting from the 3rd turn from the character's entry turn. So basically, like depending on the turn he shows up in, that could be turn 3, turn 4, or turn 5 in terms of when this character shows up, right? Once you get that condition met, very simple, you can do this, do damage, boost your defense, get that scouter, do what you gotta do. Very simple active skill. I wouldn't say that this is as good for me as Frieza's active or Gogeta's active, even in the grand scheme of things in terms of how they work and what they can provide, but the scouter is still very clutch. It is still such a good tool to have in your arsenal, even to this day. The scouter mechanic has been out for quite some time now in history. It's still so powerful because you know where the super's coming, you can plan your rotations, plan the danger, you can figure out what you need to do. It is so powerful. So having that, basically turn 3 to turn 5, really clutch. And then of course the defensive boost, it's great stuff. I mean, BROLY is a very simple character in terms of design, I feel like. However, he's very effective at what he can do, and I feel like what he can do is pretty awesome. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm really excited to see this character in game, and I hope I can pull this character. We have no information on when Broly's gonna drop or what the banner is going to look like specifically. We do know it's a carnival banner. We know it's gonna be a carnival banner, a Rising Dragon carnival banner, which is similar to Kale and Caulifla, right? The tag YLR from the Golden Week celebration. So we know that, but we don't know the specifics beyond that. So it's gonna be interesting to see what's going to be the case. My hope is that this banner for BROLY is going to feature the rerun of Caulifla and Kale, because that would be really awesome, because I don't have that character, so I could get them. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Real quick, let me go ahead and go into Exploding Rage, because I do want to talk about this real quick. So Exploding Rage, right? This is the current situation with Exploding Rage. The current best lead for the category is technically Path to Power Goku, because he's the most recent character with a good EZA, with a good kit. But even he is kind of susceptible to a lot of damage nowadays, even though his EZA came earlier this year, right? He can still take some damage. But I mean, he's the current best lead. Once BROLY comes in the fold, right? Once this character comes in the fold, we have a new leader, a better character for the lead, and obviously the team's going to change. I mean, look what you have here with Exploding Rage. You have Kale and Caulifla. You have Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta, right? So you have them from GDC. I don't have them, unfortunately, but if you have them, you can pair them under Broly's team. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, I mean, you have him, of course. Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan right there. Obviously, very powerful right there. Super EZA Gohan, Janemba still fun for me. Beast Gohan for those who still love Beast nowadays. The Super EZA for BROLY coming soon. He's going to be a part of that, so you can look forward to that, of course. All sorts of cool stuff. I mean, AGL Cell, Ultimate Gohan, I passed him, but Beastless Gohan, he is due for an EZA. So very likely he could be a very powerful tool in a team like this. Tech BROLY, for example, in BROLY. There are options. Now, is this the best team, the best category? No, it is still not the best, because there's still, a lot of weird dynamics that exist. A lot of these characters, they aren't exactly that great now. However, having a new lead for this, having some other characters to fit into this, that can make things pretty exciting, especially if you have a few of these characters like Frieza, Namek Goku, Gohan right here again, Janemba, Beast, Blue Goku right here, Kaon Caulifla. I mean, the free-to-play Bardock still is really awesome, so you know, there's just a lot of cool stuff that we can hopefully look forward to seeing with the new Broly. Honestly, I am very stoked for that. Real quick, let me go ahead and just kind of look into the other characters right here. Obviously, the Super Easy for Broly right here. We do know that the Super Easy is only going to affect the passive skill. It's not going to affect the super attack effects or the lead. So with the lead, we do know it will remain this 120% to stats, key +4 for STR typing. Not a great leader skill. I mean, it's good for like certain missions maybe, but overall it's not great. Super attack effects, you know, 12 key AoE super, love to see it of course, raising attack and defense, 18 key raising attack and defense for 1 turn as well, but only causing damage to 1 single enemy. That 12 key though, AoE super, this is what made this Broly such a beast during the World Tournament. This is like way back in the day, this guy was the guy because of this. So yeah, I mean, it's special. With the passive, what we can tell from here though, he has a basic ability, the ability to launch supers and everything. We do know he's going to want to face Pure Saiyans or Hybrid Saiyan opponents, and he's also going to have more benefits against a Goku's family enemy. Now, they may change certain kind of conditions and everything, obviously add different stuff, but I assume the base premise of Broly's design will remain the same in the sense that he wants to basically take on Gohans, Gotens, and Gokus and beat the living crap out of them. So, you know, pretty straightforward, I would say, you know, nothing too crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like, it's not, you know, it's nothing too crazy. The other one, let me go ahead and go find STR Broly real quick for you guys here. If I can find him, I know he's here somewhere. There he is, there we go. So Broly, again, part of like the 7th anniversary. So with him, he's going to get an easy A. So his leader skill will change, obviously movie boss like sub lead and everything. Super attack, raise attack and defense for 1 turn. Hopefully this is greatly raising both because that is desperately needed. And then with the passive, the thing about this Broly is he wanted a bunch of key spheres. He wanted, you know, the 12 or more key. And also he has one of the most annoying types of conditions. After delivering a final blow, which is the KO strike, you get HP recovery, which isn't even that good, but he has this. So I assume they're going to double down on this with something. You want to face an opponent with like 80% or less HP. This character on release was not that great. To be honest, he's like, even now looking at this kit, I wonder how the heck was he even approved. But like, hopefully now with his easy A, post 10th anniversary, getting ready for 11th anniversary, there's a good chance he will be a lot better because I have him. I would love to use him. I don't think I've ever used this Broly, like legitimately. I don't think I've used him. So to be able to use him potentially, that would be sick. That would be so awesome in that respect. But yeah, I mean, you know, again, I've seen some people have like mixed reviews. I will say when it comes to, before we talk about the hidden potential system and everything, I will say when it comes to the potential concerns about this character, I can definitely see the problem being that this character is not perfect for early, like, you know, short form fights because he has a damage reduction to start things off. If this is not there, or once this leaves, right, if you don't get his like defensive boosting and everything, or like it doesn't pan out, there are bosses who just hit for stupid amounts of damage right now, like basically like turn 1 to turn 4 at the latest. Broly could be susceptible to that kind of damage because he loses the damage reduction. All of a sudden, he is basically relying on guard and stats and his ability to stack his abilities. And if he can't, you know, stack enough, and if he's like, he doesn't have the dupes and everything, I could see Broly suffering a bit in those short form content. However, overall, I'm almost pretty sure that he's going to handle himself pretty well in almost every form of content that we have currently, with the exception of maybe like 1 or 2 fights. Maybe like, you know, Gohan and like Goten and Trunks and stuff, that maybe that fight will beat him, you know, with the blue zone. Maybe like Rose Masu could beat him. We'll have to see. But I think, you know, I think Broly is going to be fine. Anyways, final thing we have to talk about, right? The hidden potential system before I kind of share my overall thoughts. Hidden potential system when it comes to the build for this character, I would say you should go for heavy additionals and then throw in a sprinkle of dodge. Again, don't go for a single ounce of crit because he will already give you 5 crit with the hidden potential system at 55%, whether or not you want it to be the case. And then he will still give you built-in guaranteed crit with his passive skill right here. So no need for crit with like the skill orbs or the dupes, no crit. Do additionals, prioritize the additionals, make sure you do the additionals because Broly's a character who wants to receive attacks anyways and take on supers and stuff, so he can be fine for the most part. But also, the additionals will make you stack more, and the more stacking you do, the better it will be for Broly, his performance, his success, That is what matters. So do additionals, throw in a bit of dodge if you wish, especially just to play things safe, but I think overall additional is the way to go above all else, for sure. Anyways, last thing we have to do, we got to go ahead and go through these animations before we can wrap up the vid, because I have still not seen the full animations. Straight up, I have not seen, I've seen parts of it, like I've heard some things, like specifically related to Chilai, but I haven't seen the animation, so I have no idea what to expect. But we're gonna go ahead and go through the animations, see how they look, and of course, you know, again, I'll just kind of talk about my overall thoughts on this character, because, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I'm really liking this Broly. I'm really liking this Broly. I hope his animations are really good. I'm sure they're gonna be good because it's Dragon Ball Super Broly, like the reference and everything, so yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm really excited for this Broly. Alright, so this should be the intro here. This is insane. That's actually crazy. Okay, so this is what I saw. Let me pause it real quick. This is what I saw people talking about, was this shot of Chilai. I don't understand what we have come to as a society. Like, I get it, you know, some people like Chilai, you know, I'm not gonna say no because I get it. But like, I've seen probably more like on my timeline for Twitter related to Chilai than Broly. Like, genuinely, I think I have. Even though like it's like a 60-40 split. But I think I've seen more talking about Chilai and this specific stuff than Broly, like the character, the kit, the animations, all that stuff. Lemo looks like he's got like crazy color grading. That's sick. The blur to that, ooh, 12 key. Ooh, the Great Ape is such a fire touch. You know what? The animations look really good. Yo, they did the first person like stuff for a second there. That's really good. This intro is kind of going hard too. Okay, so Broly just has some of the best animations in the history of the game. The 18 key, I think that's from when he, yeah, that's from when he bodied Goku. Is this the active or is this the 18 key? This must be the active. Okay. Yeah, Broly's just the most clean character. You guys, I'm so quiet right now because look at this guy. Oh my god, Broly is a beast. They did so good with Broly. What is this? Yeah, okay. Animations wise alone. Does he have a KO screen? That, okay.
What do you think?
That is KO screen-esque. This is KO screen-esque. This character is looking so beautiful. This is insane. Okay. I mean, yeah, honestly, this character looks awesome. I am so excited to see him when he drops. Again, I don't know if I said it earlier in the vid. We have no data download quite yet. We don't know when this character will drop. We don't know when part 2 will begin, but we know it's going to be happening pretty soon now. So honestly, I am so excited for this. Again, let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about this Broly? Because that is going to be where we wrap up the vid. Again, if you guys enjoyed it, show your support down below. You know, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, all those great things, of course. Again, comment down below your thoughts. Let me know, what do you guys think about Broly? Do you think he's really amazing? Do you think he isn't as good as people seem to be saying? Do you think he's a bit underrated, overrated? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, stay blessed, and I will see you all in the next one.